Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a boxing video for Thunder Road Vendetta. So this is to show how to kind of put together if you got the brand new Part 5 Thunder Road Vendetta Carnival of Chaos expansion. And if you have the maximum chrome. There's basically 4 different ways you can go about doing your games. One, the easiest way. And this might actually be the way you have to do it, is if you didn't buy Maximum Chrome, if you bought expansions separately, picking up that way, is just keep everything in their own individual boxes. Is it the best solution? It kind of depends on who you are, because lots of times you might just play like the base game, and you might not need the expansion, so therefore you're just pulling out the one box anyhow. But if you want to start mixing and matching all the different expansions together, you're going to always have to pull out the core plus whatever other game you want. Although you could do just the core and just Carnival of Chaos and not have to touch any of the other expansions. So that is kind of a nice thing there if you just have, then you only have the 2 boxes you have to grab and kind of sort out. But that's all 100% on how you bought the product and what your play style was. The opposite end of the scale, number 4, which I'm not going to look into today, is your own personal storage. You decide to find your own types of trays, your own boxes. You're going to have little, whatever, customized trays. You're going to go buy some other big fancy thing that you might have. Some, lots of Etsy creators make stuff as well. Some different stuff like that. So those are the easiest solutions. Just leave everything in the box how they are, or even if it's just these two. And then B would be finding your own other different type of storage solution for how you want to do everything. Also to note is if someone might be asking, just as a quick thing, is should you get the maximum chrome box if maybe you can find it empty, or if I'm gonna pick up the game, should I pick this up versus just buying every box separately, or however that works for you? Not including like Kickstarter extra content and stuff like that. If you're just strictly looking at it for the fact is this storage box better to have than buying everything individual, I will say yes and no, because again it kind of goes, if you're just playing the base game, if you have just every box separate, you can just grab the base game. If you want to start adding expansions, you're like, oh, well, I don't have to grab 5 boxes, I can just grab Maximum Chrome, the base game and the 4 expansions. Yet, the way all the trays are in there, you're going to basically have to pull every single tray, which is 4 different trays, to play any game, even the base game. You're going to have to pull all 4 trays, because the cars are on one tray, the boards are on the bottom. So, is that much different than having to pull out 4 different boxes? So, there's kind of your back and forth on that. So, you just kind of want to point that out. So the other 2 solutions we have today are stuff that came with the Kickstarter campaign for Carnival of Chaos. The next easier one in line, besides keeping stuff in box, and I'm going to say this with a little bit of a caveat to it, which I'll explain when I get into it, is the box extender. So it came with the box extender you were able to get, which does is it adds, and if I pull this out, and we go look at it, I've already inserted mine in there, it adds an extra, little layer on the top. So basically what you're doing is you're going to take out the Carnival of Chaos tray and put it in this box, and now you just have a 5th tray in here to go through. Like I said, that's a little bit easier, and the fact is because now you have one big box again versus having this sitting aside as a separate box by itself. So it's definitely nice is if you want everything in Maximum Chrome, and if you have the Maximum Chrome thing. The caveat I do want to point out is, and other people have said this during the Kickstarter comments, is that this box extender is really tight in there. And that might be a dissuasion for other people. So to show what it is and what I mean is, so I have my Carnival of Chaos. For me to put this in here here's how much effort I have to do, because it's not just sliding in. Like it hopefully should just kind of drop in. One thing that doesn't help is the cover sticks out a little bit farther than the thing. So I could if I took the cover off, I could almost more or less drop it in there. But again, it's kind of the way it's also designed is it flares out a little bit at the bottom for stirability. So that makes it a little bit hard. And then now I gotta try and put this cover back on. Now, do you have to put the cover back on? No, I could probably do is if I really wanted to, I could maybe get away with putting this lower in the box and putting the other thing on top that already has the cover, the first one. My only issue there is there's coins and stuff that it might slide around. But yeah, getting this piece back in is a pain. And since Carnival of Chaos isn't going to be used every time, it might make more sense to do that, is put this lower in the box. And maybe that might make it easier. I have to play around and find out. But what that does is if you have this on there, I'm not going to try and force this in at the moment. It brings it all the way back up to the top. You drop the instructions. It's, use the instructions to kind of help hold stuff in. Obviously, you're not going to be hopefully turning this box upside down. So I don't think the tokens on this side of a box are going to be that big of a deal either way. But then when you throw the cover back on, it can slide right back over the top. You're just going to end up with a little bit of gap on the bottom. But it puts everything back in one box. It's definitely a nice solution for keeping everything in one box. But the other thing I kind of want to definitely got to point out all of this stuff is, so if I pull this back out, I'd say you could definitely put this on the top instead. And you could have this even just sit on there, because like these ones don't have anything holding that stuff in, but everything is kind of in a deep well. But then as I'm pulling all of these out, they get easier to pull out. And again, you could have these in a little bit different orders as well. And then on the very bottom, you would have your trays. So, I could always put the Tina one in, or the Carnival one in next. I just want to try and see how that works. I want to see if it works with the lid quick. Because you might not use this in every game, right? And I think stuff going in the bottom went in a little bit, as they went down farther, it went a little bit easier. But this is the only other problem, is because now also being a much thicker box, yeah, see, I'm still struggling to get it in with that top. So I just might not be able to use that top in there. But I could drop this on. And it's still kind of that flared bottom, so it is giving me a little bit of an issue. Yeah, and see, it's not just dropping in there. And that's maybe the thing. Maybe this has to sit on the very top, because the top can expand a little bit more than the bottom. I can kind of force it in there, but I don't. But now it's going to be, okay, now I have to get out my next stuff. So maybe I have to put this on the very bottom, put the boards on the top. And if I have to access this stuff for this mode, I'd have to take the boards out anyhow. So that might be the other option as well. It all does fit in there, and once it's in there, it's not too terribly bad to take it out. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. It's your other solution or option. So what are exactly these things? Now, here's the other issue I had. So here's what all you're getting in this. You're getting these two big giant boards. They do have a red and black side, so you can put them in either direction. However you want. Maybe you want the red side face up, you can do that instead. Now, what I did run into an issue, so I left, right now the bottom's in there. Now, if I put this in here, now I flip it to the red side, it fits in there kind of tight. This was the only other issue I had, and I think other people have had this issue as well. Now, if you kind of just get it in there nicely, it does fit in there. You just kind of got to be patient with it. First time is I took out the bottom. This time it kind of fit in there. I think it kind of pushed the box. But I think if you try and force it too hard, and the same thing with putting in all the trays. If you try and force them in there too hard, you're going to break your box. So it is kind of tight. You got to be careful. This isn't going to be a quick, open up, whip everything out, whip everything back in type of situation. It's going to take a second to pull everything out. You got to be careful. Also being that much higher of a box, it's not much. It's like, what, an inch or inch and a half or so. But that's enough to make it that much farther down you have to reach into set trays. So that's option 2, obviously, is you can go ahead and get this box riser and just basically throw Tina in there. Now, the only issue that's ever going to really arise from this overall is going to be as if they ever make any more expansions. If they plan on making anything else there's absolutely no more room in this box, because you could make a riser that goes another, or make another one that's this much higher for another full expansion. It's like, great, but at some point, A, it's going to be too much in there, and B, this box is just going to start getting way too heavy. It's already pretty freaking heavy the way it is with all of this stuff, and this isn't even all the boards. And now you're adding in the Tina stuff as well, or the Carnival of Chaos. It's just that much more. I don't know if they're going to want to put that much weight in this box. And also, as the higher these get, the more structural integrity it's going to put on the box. So there's that. All right, so then the third thing I wanted to point out, which was the last thing we're going to show on this video, but this will be a little bit, is we have these folded inserts. So I'm going to shove this off to the side. So this was another thing you could have picked up during the Kickstarter campaign, was folded space inserts for this game. So these are all little boxes. You have to build all these. They're made of foam core. And then you actually have to glue them together. Now, there's some parts that you might not, like I didn't glue the center pieces down, but I glue all the outside. But a piece like this, you absolutely have to glue down. But yeah, they're really neat. So then they get a little storage space for each different vehicle. And this also includes all the stuff for Carnival of Chaos. So if you own Carnival of Chaos, you'll end up with some extra spots. Has spots for like your tokens for that game, damage tokens, tokens for the command for if you have the upgrades. It's meant for every single thing. Some extra dice slots, spots for your 2 extra cars. So if you have them, they have their own special one. We have a extra little one here for your tokens to go into, and then we have one here for your new party favors plus all your cards, and this actually sits up a bit. So, and then here's the picture of it on the front. So it's from Folded Space is the name of the game. It doesn't mean that that's the name. How they're not folded things, they're all foam core. Yeah, you can see how you have all your different coins in there. They actually have like the metal coins even. All your cards and stuff go in there, all your tokens fit in there very nicely, your cards. And the idea of this is supposed to be, you get everything in there, then if you're playing with it, you can pick out whichever car you want. You have all your components for the cars kind of together. You gotta pull them out, use them. And then you get, like, you want your decks, you just pull out your entire deck. You have your damage token, you pull out your entire damage. You can put all the rest of the stuff back. And then it kind of, if we gotta look on the back here, just kind of showing how it's gonna go in there. So it's gonna be stacked in like this as up to 3 layers worth of stuff in there. I'm gonna do a quick pause in the video and try and assemble this all and put everything in there to show what it looks like. One thing to also just note right off the bat before I even do that is that this does not mean this is meant for the maximum chrome box. Could you get this and use this for other stuff? Absolutely. You could get this and have your own storage case and put them in your own box or whatever. But this is also supposed to be compatible. It's not just compatible, it's meant to be work with the maximum chrome edition, because it's still going to use a couple of these trays. It has the tray for the boards. It didn't make a special container for them. And there might be a few of the other things that need to be in there. So we'll take a look and see how they fit in there and see how that looks. So be right back for you. All right, I'm back. So this is how the inserts should kind of look outside of the box when you put them in. I got a couple of issues with the folded inserts. They're really nice. They store stuff really great. I love all that. I don't have any problem with the quality of them or what they hold. They hold the stuff. My one big issue is that, like lots of storage boxes, the companies fail to put anything in there to explain how to sort the stuff. Now, this isn't 100% as bad for this, because they do stuff like where if I have these, they did show like the tokens on the bottom. Even the same thing with the cards. They actually had little pictures of all the cards in the bottom, so you knew exactly which. Let's see if I can kind of pull one of these out. So if I pull like the big one, it does show you like all 4 of these decks go in there. versus like each one. So like that is very helpful for figuring out which goes where, which cars go in which thing, which that, and all the boxes are color coded. So that stuff is very nice. The little minor things they didn't bother to show on any of the stuff was where everything else goes afterwards. Like it tells you where to put all the tokens. So like here it does even show on here. It's like, oh, here's how you put these. They do show these boards here, but they don't have anything explaining. Let me move these out of the way here. They don't have anything explaining that these boards sit on top of here. There's nothing that really says that. There's not, unless I missed something in like the instructions, but if it was a very minor thing because most of it is how to put it together. And then even like looking at this is on the back, they do kind of show like, well, here's how you stack everything together. Well, that's kind of helpful, but being that this is a very generic-y picture, it's, you know, you can kind of tell like which direction some of these are facing, but you can't tell that the purple one has to go in the back corner because he's built a little bit differently. You know, so some of that stuff, it could be. Now, you can go to their website and they actually do a little 30-second video which shows exactly how all these things lay out. So that is very helpful for that. So at least there was an opportunity for me to go see how it did that. But then again, the thing was, it was just showing where everything laid down. It didn't show, I don't remember if it showed these boards or not. But it doesn't show everything, which is the kind of thing. And then the other issue that we run into with that is over here I have the arena boards that we just got, and then the finish line. What do I do with them? They didn't come with an insert like this. They didn't come with something else. At least as far as I could tell, unless I missed something, which is always possible. Keep your regular big boards in the bottom down here. The thing is, the way those are designed, they can't lay next to each other. One's going to have to stack on top of each other, since these won't lay even. So I think the only other option is to put all of these in and then put those boards on top. Which, one hand, is I kind of say is a little annoying. But on the other hand, if you're going to, you have to dig out the bottom boards anyhow. You have to pull all of this stuff out every time you play anyhow. It's just the idea is you can put some of them back a little bit quicker or they take up less space. So that's just my minor gripe about that. And then the other thing was like with these right here. So if we look at this, is you also had all your boards here. It's like, well, where do all these go? I had to go look up a video to find out, oh, they're supposed to sit on here. Then once you realize that, you're like, well, duh, that kind of makes sense. But again, there was no like picture indication saying that these boards went here. So that was kind of a thing, is like, there could have been a little bit better communication between the Thunder Road Vendetta and Restoration Games and Folded Spaces to be exactly where all this stuff did. All they worried about is, oh, we know these cards go in here, these go here, these go, and then they didn't show any of the other stuff. They show all these things going together. They show like what kind of goes in the things, but they don't explain where all the excess stuff went or how it fits into the box. They don't even show this, how this goes into the box. Obviously, it just should make sense. It goes in this direction. But again, and there's like a one line on the back of the box that says, these boards lay on top like this. And that's what they do. They have a line of text that says that. So it does say, many of the trays can be used during gameplay and are set up. The boards and rulebooks act as a lid on top of the trays. Yeah, so this doesn't even say it on here. It just says it. I think I had to read it in like the other description on their website to find out that that's where they went. So yeah, there's just some of that stuff. You know, I know that these guys that make these things all the time or work with the companies, they're like, well, this makes sense, do this, this, this. Once you've assembled it the first time, you're probably like, okay, yeah, I get it. I can probably do this again without having to pull instructions every time. But if you've never done these before, and even like to an extent with the folded space stuff, so I just want to also comment on building these things. These are nice little trays. Don't get me wrong at all. So two things just to help for anyone that's picking these up. If you want to put them, they do have a thing on their website. You can go and they kind of give you a basic idea of how to do it. But they show on their thing what pieces you need to pop out, which board, which highlight pieces, which is really great. So that was very easy to follow along with. What I would do is I'd recommend, I think they recommended it in the instruction manual too, the little instruction sheet was put everything together first before you start gluing it together. So that's what I did. I built every box and then I figured out where I needed to glue and I glued everything together afterwards. Just to make sure everything fit in this, which is nice that none of the pieces fit in there so tight anywhere that I felt like, oh crap, I'm going to wreck it if I pull it back out. Because some games do that where if you insert something and then to pull it back out, it might be a pain, but then the next piece that connects to it's super loose, you kind of, end up with that as an issue. The other thing, just as a hint, is when you're popping those out, because some of these have colored sides. So when you first look at it, depending on which side you have, these sides might be face down, especially when you get to doing all of the colored boxes. So when you're doing all your boxes, it's really nice to have those. Oh, you realize one side's colored. So if you flipped it to the other side, literally, and you saw they're all colored, you know, okay, these are all the blue pieces. You just want to make sure that way when you're picking them up and you're setting them in there, you don't all of a sudden put the colored side on the inside or you put the blue with the green. So it's just a quick reminder there. All right, so I do want to look at what is in all these trays before I stick them in the box, just to kind of go over them. So we have the big giant one here. Now it does have a little gap down here. I need to move my camera. I'm used to focusing in this direction, and I have my camera turned too far. So yeah, this has a little gap down here, but this is to help keep these elevated. So this is all your party tokens for the new Carnival game. This is all your new hazard if you got the swag pack and all these. Now, if you didn't get the swag, if you bought this folded expansion, you didn't have the new expansion, you're going to have a bunch of extra holes everywhere. You have one fully empty tray. This tray is going to be empty, so you have two empty trays there, the purple one and this one, and then this will be like half empty because you don't have any of these, and you'll be missing a bunch of these cards. But at least it's nice to know if you ever pick it up, you have that option to get those. Yeah, then we have all of our different expansion set cards, our one-shots, and our different upgrades and stuff like that. And they just put all those together because they're kind of like little extra things. Then the other decks that are all separated out is we have the Chop Shop upgrades. This also includes the promo card, fits in there. I also note I have all of these sleeves. With the official sleeves, they all fit really nice. Even with the promo card, there's a little extra room in there. There's a little extra room, so it's like they reduce one or two more cards, you have enough. Here's all of Tina's cards. Oops, and I dropped that one back into the wrong side. The super weapons, as well as the create your own cards, and then the witness me cards fit in there as well. And then we have these for your damaging cards. Now some people are like, well, why do we have two of them? My guess is the reason why there's two is you have a use and discard pile. You discard it, you can put it in the other one, or you could separate them out. But it was nice that all the sleeves do fit in there really nice. So if you just sleeve them all, they'll work. Then we have all our spots for all our tokens. We have our fire. We have our damaging stuff here. We have all of our regular hazard tiles. Then we also have an extra spot for the ones that are different colors, which were for the Chop Shop upgrade. Now, I do have regular full tiles of these, plastic tiles I've gotten from Etsy. Which I might grab here quick and show them off. But they should all fit in here as well. But they're all red on the back. So they should all fit in here because there's a little bit of extra room in here. But we'll see what that kind of looks like. Then we have a spot. Big Rig and Final 5 all share a spot. But they're going to be like that. Just have your helicopter, your dice. Now, the dice are going to be a little bit tricky to get out of this one. But once you... As long as all four if all four fall down there, there is enough finger room to kind of get them out. A little bit of a pain, but not impossible. Versus some of the other stuff. Then all your little things sitting there, same thing. We have an extra little hole there too, in case maybe you want to separate one of your bikes out or whatever. However you want to do that. So they're sitting there. Then we have one for our carnival. We have all different tokens there. Nice little beautiful display on the outside of the box. All of our damaging X tokens for the Final 5. Command tokens. Rex. They can kind of sit on there. And those guys can go either direction. Well, what's nice there is if you're not using this expansion, you just put it back in the box. You're using this one. You're not using These expansions, you can leave that in the box. You don't have to pull out this big tray and have them all sitting there, or take out a couple of pieces. You can just quickly be like, oh, I'm playing with this and this. I'm going to pull out these two. I can put them all back in the box. Versus having to open up a tray, take out these 5 pieces. You know, oh, I'm going to play the blue player. Cool. You just pull this out, hang it to them. They have their boards, their other 3 boards. They have their helicopter, their 3 cars, their dice, and all the German engineering cards, if you opt to use those. Again, that was one thing that, with the way the other boxes were, is that these were all in there, but in the tray, once they're sleeved, they stick way up. So there's always that problem. As soon as you open up the lid, they might shoot out everywhere. So at least this is kind of nice because you could keep them in there. You can even just use this as your deck storage then. It's like, oh, I need to draw 3 cards. Draw your 3 cards. And if you set them off to the side, you can take some out and discard. So it's kind of nice there as well. Nice little opening on the bottom so you can pull them out very quickly. So you don't have to fiddle with trying to, like, mess around getting them out. And again, sleeves, so they fit plenty of room in there. Yeah, so very nice with that. Plus, also the fact is now we have a purple one here for the new one. So that way, otherwise, before, even if you're using the separate box or the folded insert, if someone wanted to play as the purple car, they had to go open up another entire tray versus the original Maximum Chrome. They were all together. So that's kind of one other thing that's nice about this set here, because, you know, I can pick whichever one of the 5 colors I want to play. Whoever else picks theirs, or pick the yellow or red cards. You know, it's kind of neat if they would have been separate as well, like 2 separate things. That would have been kind of nice too, so you could pick one or the other. But yeah, then you just grab all those out, put all the rest back in the box quick. So like when I get done, whatever I'm not using out of this entire corner is just going to go back in the box. I'm going to keep my hazard tile sitting out. If I'm playing with some of the decks, I'm going to keep these out depending on which decks I'm using. Otherwise, this might go right back in the box as well. And it's even on the side, kind of shows some of the terrain, which is really cool. Then the last thing we had to show off was the little dice holder, and this will hold your dice. Now, the game comes with 1 set of dice. But if you're like me, you buy a second set. That way you have a second set. That way you're playing with, you know, a group of people, and one's on one side of the table, one's on the other, or 2 people on each side, or the arena where you're maybe in a circle. However you're going to do that. Then you can just have one group have one side and one have the other. Then the last thing, of course, for that was all of our characters, which were all of the regular ones, as well as the Kickstarter and Bricchio, and the new one, Proud Mary, will fit. And of course, these guys are all single-sided except for her. And they'll all sit in there. Now, I kind of have to go in this way. So there's a little opening right there, so they'll kind of slide onto that. So that way they stay a little bit more flush. And then the big piece just kind of sits on top. And it's just low enough they'll kind of bump into these, and it won't fall off. So yeah, that's how that's going to go. I'm going to put this in the box, and I'm going to do a quick pause, and we'll stick it in the box to see what it looks like in there. But yeah, it's a really nice setup for this. Gives you extra little trays. I love little extra trays for stuff. So I like all that. Again, my only kind of gripe is what to do with those big boards, and the fact there's no direction on that. And some of this other stuff, they could have just had a picture, like had one more sheet of paper in there that just even showed, like, lay these guys out. You know, it could have been layer 1, then layer 2, and then layer 3 being like, add this stuff. I mean, they basically did a 30-second video online for it, which is great, but I hate having to go online and look it up. Because I wouldn't have thought going to a store's website they would show it. So I had to go to Board Game Geek, look it up. Oh, look, somebody answered it. I had to find it. Then I had to click to their link. Then go to there. And actually, that's not even how I found it. Because there, they just linked to a Facebook page, which showed people showing these inserts. Okay, so that gave me a better idea. But again, it didn't show that, and I went to their website to find it a little bit quicker. So it's like, I hate having to hunt down that information that you should just have with your product. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stick the stuff in the box. We'll take a look at it. All right, so I've already put a couple in here. So we got the big box in here, all the cards. We have this over here. Now, some might be like, why does it matter where purple went? Because I have all the different 4 colors here. There is a little bit of a reason for that. It's minor, but it is a reason. So, It has these extra little nubs. I'm dropping stuff. Little nubs on either side versus the other boxes, which are flat all the way across. So the idea of that is that once it's in here, it can kind of move around a bit. So that way you can pick it up and pull it out, or be able to pull one of these out. Versus having them very tight. Because otherwise, like on this side, these guys, there's a little bit of room in there as well. But you kind of got to pinch into there. This gives you just that little bit of extra thumb space. So that's the only reason. It's very minor. I don't think it's going to hurt if you put one the other way. The other colors don't matter. They're all the same. Drop our little token box back in here. I guess the other question, someone could be like, well, could I put the purple box on top of this? You sure could. You could always do some of these a little bit other directions if you want. We do have these guys on the bottom. You could put these guys on top of the other ones. The only little minor issue that might be with that is that you're having, is that then your stability on the there's no stability on the bottom because these guys could maybe slide a little bit. But again, I don't know. This is a box you're not gonna be tipping this on its side. So that might not be that big of a deal. Now, when I was showing it off before, I did have the big rig on this side. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't put the big rig over there, put these guys in the middle, and then put the dice on the other side. Or you could even, if you want to, you could put these guys on this side. You know, again, you could put this in the middle. And then you can even do it like this, put these guys on the bottom, put all the cars on the top. And they're like, oh, if I'm not using any of the expansion tokens, I don't have to pull any of these out. If I'm not using these guys. Yes, you could put all these guys on the bottom, put the 4 main cars on top. Then that way all you have to do is you have to pull the 4 cars off to get to them. You grab your dice. So that's the only thing you would need from under there, really. But yeah, then these guys can slide right in there. So you have some different options at least there, which is kind of nice. Then this can kind of sit in the middle there. So then the only other thing we ran into with just the end of this was what to do with all of these other boards. So basically what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to set this in that way. Again, unless I am missing something, which is very possible, but see the problem here is what happens is now this sticks up way over that. So I don't know if I'm missing something for how this is supposed to go, but that's all I can figure. And then you throw the instruction manuals on top. We got both of them there. I don't know if you really need to keep this one necessarily because they do all the same things as the other ones do for the most part. But, you know, you keep all your books. But, yeah, that's going to kind of maybe give a little bit of push right in the middle. But yeah, maybe I'm missing something. If I am, hit me up in the comments. You know, or if I find something major, or maybe I'll go a little extra. But now I do have the folded or the box extenders back there, which I don't need. So it's kind of your thing. So we kind of went through this entire video to give you the 4 different options. Either just keep stuff in the original boxes, whether it's maximum chrome and then the new expansion, or if you're going to combine them. You know, have them or if you have them all in your own separate individual boxes, you could do that as well. Then we had the second option, which was use the box extender, which aren't bad at all. And I did see some other videos or pictures that did show the new set down farther. So that's definitely an option as well. It's just putting that down farther into the box, and that might help. Then you don't have to have that cover on there. This is option 3, is if you want to buy this folded insert. I'm not positive on the pricing. Prices fluctuate, so I hate really ever saying them. But I want to say it's about $45, $50. So it's expensive to buy these special inserts. But again, you can see the difference between here I can grab out each little tray versus having to pull up big tray, pop out little piece for this guy, then put that tray back in. So there's some of that. They both are functional. The other trays were definitely functional. Just you can definitely see where that's a thing. Or option 5, figure out your own solution with everything else. Whether it is buying these folded inserts, not having the maximum chrome box, and then figure out how to store them somewhere else, or buying a different storage solution. Again, people on Etsy and stuff make their own, since they're really cool. Speaking of Etsy, the very last thing I wanted to show off in the video, just because I did mention it, is we have all of our hazard tiles. I did mention, I thought I'd grab it. So I do have some of the plastic ones that I got from Kickstarter. So I just want to show this off for the fact is they're blank on the back. The idea is, I've done other videos for these. They have nothing on there. So the idea is what you can do is you can then put these underneath. So you grab them. But the idea is because you have the Chop Shop ones, which were different colors, some people want to be able to use those as well. So that's the idea. Plus these acrylic tokens look really cool. Plus a little bit more durable. So they're nice that way. But yeah, the idea would be that you could go ahead and, or just randomly shuffle these. They had a little bag that they came with. Throw all these in a bag. So if you reveal a hazard tile, instead of flipping it over, you just randomly grab one from the bag. So there's an option for that. But I did want to show off because what I was going to do, and I don't know if I have any in this particular group of set. No. What I was doing was I was printing off little stickers to put on the back of each one. But I just want to show that these will fit in here as well. So if you did what I kind of am going to do. Oh yeah, so like I started doing this. I just printed off little pictures of all the little icons. So this is the junk one. So this is going to match a junk pile if I have one here. So that's going to basically be the same as this. I'm still working on the size a little bit, but that was just an idea. So I could print these off. That way I could just use these instead of having to have the other ones. But yeah, if I shove these in here. Oh, that one turns sideways. You can get a decent amount. Now, I don't know if we're going to get the exact same amount in here, which is what I wanted to test. So that's pretty solid there for being that. Now, the thing is, if you bought from this Etsy company, they did have if you bought all their extra terrain and stuff, which I've done the video for as well, it's Adrena Creative. So if you bought from their thing, they also had a storage box, which had a nice little tray like this and stuff to hold everything, which is really cool as well. But that's if you bought all their extra impassable terrain and stuff. So I filled this up. So now, is this going to be the same number is the question. They're all going to shoot out everywhere. So I think it'll be pretty darn close, but I think it's not going to be the exact same. I think these are just a little bit thicker. Yes, it's not even the same number depth-wise. So there's one idea. Is if you use these, if you just did what I'm going to do and do that, and you put them in this box, they're not going to all fit because they weren't designed for the extra thickness. But I just wanted to show that off as at least an idea. So if you're like, oh, sweet, I could just add those in here, and no. It won't work. And these are a little bit tight in there now because I had a couple extra sitting around. Alright, that is what I have for Thunder Road Vendetta Storage Solutions. Hope you guys, a long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and explained how these folded inserts or the different options are. Check out my other videos. Check out more from this. If you have questions, hit me up, comments. Let me know. I love to try and answer stuff about games if I can. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.